I'm Amy, this is The Opinionated Woman, and today we're talking about queer communication. This topic came up from a TikTok that I posted where I was talking about queer communication. So I was speaking about how when I'm talking to a straight person, I will say that I'm a lesbian. When I'm speaking to a queer person, I say that I'm queer. And there's a distinct reason for that. And okay, in this video, I'm very much going to be like straight people this, queer people that. But this is only a general conversation, like a generalization for the specific conversation. There are a lot of straight, very educated allies in our community. Not in our community, but like that support our community. And there are some queer people that are incredibly uneducated when it comes to queer topics, queer theory, etc. But I'm just going to use the straight and queer as a generalized sort of collection of people for this video. So the reason that I will go to a straight person and say that I'm a lesbian is the main communication that I'm trying to get across is that I have no interest in dating men or any attraction to men. And this is like the main key, you know, like a lot of the time if I'm speaking to a stranger or an acquaintance or somebody that's hitting on me in a bar and I need to be like, bruh, it's not going to happen, I'm a lesbian. We leave it at that. Whereas I feel that the term queer, which both of these things, the labels fit me. I like both of them. I feel comfortable with both of them. But when I say that I am queer to a straight person, I get a like a confused, like what the hell does that mean kind of thing. And all of the things that I'm about to discuss now, they can fit under the lesbian banner, 100%. But in the sort of more general population that are not as educated about queer issues, a lesbian to them would be a cis woman dating a cis woman. Now, the reason that this gets to be a difficult conversation to have, especially with a stranger and acquaintance, is if I try to communicate about my queerness and about how I feel being a lesbian is to me, I'm going to start going into stuff that's super duper personal. For example, genitalia preferences. I don't got one. I will date non-binary people and women, and I don't care what's in their pants. Literally, I can date a non-binary person with a penis, I don't care. I can date a trans woman who hasn't had bottom surgery, because you don't have to have any kind of surgery to be trans. And if she has a penis, I don't care. I genuinely don't give a fuck. But to talk about that to a stranger is really fucking awkward. Like, are you just gonna go up to a stranger and be like, hey, I fuck penises and vaginas? You know, like, that's quite weird. It's quite a weird thing to have a talk about. I have actually had this discussion with a few friends and family members. So when I came out as a lesbian, I had a friend who said, like, no dick for you, missy. Or like a friend would mention like, oh no, but you're not into dick or whatever like that. Like, I mean, it's quite simplistic. So I've had to sit them down and have that discussion about the fact that I don't care what somebody has in their pants. And those conversations have gone really well, which is great, but it's not something that I'm comfortable talking about to a complete stranger. And then the next point that's sort of, it's a difficult one because I'm so passionate about trans rights and affirming the existence of trans people and not binary and non-binary. But this is a topic that can get very contentious. People can get very violent about these kind of things sometimes, and it's the kind of conversation that sometimes is not the right conversation for you to be having at that time. As much as I want to be advocating for people, you also need to think about your personal safety and also your mental health. If I'm not feeling great that day with my bipolar, my depression, I'm not going to be able to shoulder the burden of having to then have this really contentious conversation with this person who's not understanding that yes, a lesbian can date a non-binary person, or a lesbian can date anybody with a penis, because in their limited scope, to them, that doesn't make any sense. And yes, there are a lot of people in the queer community who have a genitalia preference, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I'm not one of those people. And I don't want to have that conversation with a person that I'm not going to be comfortable having that conversation with, no matter how passionate I am about that topic. It's a little bit too deep for a stranger and an acquaintance. Like, I would rather have this conversation with somebody that I trust and that is willing to listen to me, rather than someone who I'm going to then try and convince to change their mind about the limited way that they think. And I know leaving out these conversations is easier and it is less contentious, but at the same time, I'm a huge advocate for these communities, and I want to be able to call someone out when they're being transphobic or something like that. And I cannot imagine, because I'm coming from a very, very privileged point of view. I am a white cis lesbian. So I don't have any of the intersectionalities that could make this even more of an issue when trying to communicate my identity to people. I am not a person of color. I identify with the gender that I was assigned at birth. You know, I come from a privileged background, you know. I have not had a lot of the struggles that a lot of other people have, and therefore don't have as many issues expressing my identity to people that someone who was, say, a non-binary person of color would have. That's a whole bunch of more complications, and I cannot imagine how hard it is to try and navigate communicating that with the people around you. So what I would really like, I mean, this is an idyllic sort of situation, you know, where people don't immediately assume that you're straight, that we don't immediately assume someone's gender as soon as we see them, and a place where we can talk about our identities in an open manner without being scared of the repercussions, without being worried about what that person is going to say to us, about what their reception to us is going to be. We can just discuss these things and have a mutually respectful back and forth between anybody of any identity, and not feel limited, because it is very, very limiting to feel like you are only being partially understood by the people that you're interacting with because of their closed-mindedness or because of their ignorance. So basically, this little ramble, I hope when I go to film it, it's not too rambly. I filmed it already before and I forgot to press record. So hopefully this one is less rambly than the first one that I filmed. But basically, the main thing I wanted to say is that I really wanted to normalize making it easy to communicate about our identities to each other without the fear of judgment and without the fear of people completely misunderstanding who we are, and be able to live our lives as authentically as we possibly can. That's basically what it's about. So if you're a straight person and you've had these conversations, or you've misunderstood these conversations, I hope this helped a little bit. Maybe leave a comment down below. I can link you to some really great people who will be able to educate you about these things, some trans and non-binary creators. I'll actually put my favorite trans and non-binary creators in the description box below, just if you guys want to see them, because I want to share the love, because I love taking in their content, and they have educated me to the nth degree. And I know it is not a trans person's job to educate you, but when you're doing it on purpose and putting videos on YouTube, then it is, you know. So they've done all the work and the information. I will put a bunch of them down below, because I really think that it is very important to listen to own voices people about these topics and educate ourselves. If you're a queer person and you've also had problems with limiting your communication about your identity, also put that down below. Let's have a chat. I would love to discuss this with a bunch of you. That would be fucking wonderful. If you want to see more of my Pride content, then please hit the subscribe button. There is way more coming for the rest of June. June is super gay up in here. And if you like this video, give me a like and maybe tickle my bell for notifications. And until my next gay video, check you later.